Hey everybody, welcome to this room. Sorry I'm running a few minutes late. I was having an issue with my iPad. I think I've got it all good now. So we're going to get started on this in just a minute. Y'all come in and say hi. I'm a little discombobulated. Never fails when there's technical things. For some reason it didn't want to connect to my Wi-Fi, so I had to turn it off and on. All right, let me get you guys pulled up on my other device here. It's being slow, sorry. Hopefully it's not my child in there gaming that's the issue. I know she said she was in the middle of a game today. Come on, pull up. Hey, Dawn. Hey, Angela. Hey, Nancy. All right, I got some people on here, yay. All right, so we are going to talk all about faux rice paper. And I said faux leather because sometimes it looks like faux leather instead of faux rice paper, so you'll see what I mean. Why is this so bouncy? Not touching that. I feel like it's bouncy for some reason today. It's like leaning on the tripod or something funny. But we're gonna get started on this in just a minute. I've got a camera up here I need to turn on, which I forgot. I don't usually record it while I'm doing it because it doesn't stay on for very long. When I try to record a live on a separate device, for some reason it overheats and I have issues. So I'm going to try it and see. I took my case off. I'm hoping that helps, and I put it on airplane mode. I'm going to try because I really would love to be able to post this on YouTube too. So that's my goal. But anyway, so I've got that pulled up. We're going to talk all about faux rice paper. So I've tested it. I've used it for a while, but not a lot. It's just one of those things that you either need it or you don't, you'll figure it out when I go. But I've watched a couple people do videos on it over the years. One of my favorite videos that I watched in the past was done by, what is her name? Treasure Books. Her YouTube channel is Treasure Books. I'm trying to think, is it Natasa? I feel like it's Natasa, with Treasure Books. But anyway, if y'all want the link, I can give you her link to her channel later. But she talks a lot about using it as like a faux rice paper and stuff, and she uses PVA glue only, as far as I know. But she has a really good video on it, and many other people have done it, but that was just the one that I watched the last time, which was probably a couple years ago. But anyway, so we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the ins, the outs, the what to do, what not to do, what works, what doesn't work, things like that. Okay, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I don't want this to be a super long live because I'm trying to rest my back, so I don't injure myself again. It's starting to get a little bit better, and I'm going to kind of ease into doing my full lives. But don't let me go more than an hour. And then I'll be back on Sunday, and we're going to do kind of part 2 of this. I'm going to show you how to use the faux rice paper that we make. Okay, so let me pull the camera up and we'll get started. Okay, flip that around. All right, that should be correct. And look where my pencil was. Hopefully it's not in the camera. I think we are good. Yeah, let me know if there's any issues, volume or otherwise. I'm hoping this camera actually records some of this so I can put it up on the other thing. I don't do a lot of YouTube stuff, but I do like to try to get out there. Okay, so tissue paper. This is napkins. This is a 2-ply napkin. This one happens to be from Hobby Lobby. And we've also got just some regular tissue paper for like wrapping things. This one's a little bit different, and this tissue paper has more of a shiny side, and this tissue paper does not. It's flat on both sides. So you might get a little bit of a difference from those. These are some of the things I'm going to show you that I've worked on. I did one with a little doily, a coffee filter. These are cut just because I did tests on them. And I even did just a paper towel where I pulled it apart. So we've got all of these to show. And then probably many more. Honestly, I've been doing this for like a week and I have them just everywhere. So the first thing you need to do is figure out what you're going to do it on. Now, whatever you do this on, it needs to be porous and it needs to be kind of thin. Okay, the thinner it is, the more it's going to look like rice paper. But you can do it on a little bit thicker things as long as the glue can soak into it. So that's kind of the key as far as what you do it on. I've done everything from tissue paper, napkins, to gauze, and even burlap in the past. So you can do lots of things as long as it can soak it up. Okay, so we're going to talk about that more in a minute. And we're going to talk about glues. Okay. There are lots of glues out there that you can do this with. And each one is going to give you a little bit of a different outcome. Okay? So I've got my whole box of things here, and we're going to go over that. But you can use just regular Mod Podge. Matte works okay. You can use matte medium, which is a Liquitex collaging medium. This works well for collaging. And you can use a PVA glue. This is what Natasa with Treasure Books uses, is a PVA glue. But I don't think her PVA glue is this PVA glue. This PVA glue is a bookbinding PVA glue. And it's more flexible than what she's using. I think what she's using is closer to Glue All, which does have a PVA glue in it. It's got like two different types of glues, but one is a PVA glue. And there's lots of PVA glues. I mean, even your normal wood glue is a PVA glue. So it just means like polyvinyl acetate, I think. I forgot to write it down, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. You can use Mod Podge fabric, but Mod Podge fabric gives you a result very similar to this PVA glue, which is more flexible. So what I've discovered is that, in general, the more flexible your glue is, the more sticky of an outcome you'll get. Okay? The more non-flexible it is, like this one's not super flexible, the more crispy and crunchy your paper will be. Okay? So that's the thing that I've mostly found. So I think my favorite of all of these for just your basic rice paper is just the Glue All. And luckily that's the cheapest one here. So and not just a basic glue, but the Glue All specifically has the PVA in it. It's like an extra strong formula. It's slightly different than just your basic Elmers school glue. Okay, so these are the things that I have used, and I'm going to show you how each one looks in my little test. Okay, now you can also color your items. Okay, so there's lots of ways you can color it. You can use, I'll grab all my stuff here. So you can use an ink. This is a Liquitex acrylic ink. This one happens to be burnt umber. And it's just very dark liquid ink. Okay, so very dark. So you can use that to color with. You can use the Tim Holtz Distress Spray Stains. They come in lots of colors. I think I like the walnut best. It has an antique linen, which is very light, and then the vintage photo, which would be the next step, and then the walnut would be the darkest. So you can use one of those. And I've done a couple of tests with those. I'm just going to wipe this out before it gets on something. What else? You can use coffee. You can use tea. I have a little jar of coffee here. This was just left over in my husband's French press this morning, so I just poured some in there. And the thing is, if you mix coffee with your glue, guys, you can't use it, you can't save it. It'll mold over time. You could save it for a couple of days in the refrigerator, but I don't know how the glue is going to react once it goes in the refrigerator, so I wouldn't suggest it. If you use any of these other methods for coloring your glue, that you can keep for quite a while in a little container. Okay. So coffee can't keep as long because of, possible molding issues. So this is some that I mixed up like a week ago, and I've been using it. And this was just Elmers glue all with water and some vintage photo in it. So that's that. I'm going to look and see if there's any questions. By the way, happy birthday, Dawn. I hope you had a nice day. All right, let's see. We are going to go ahead and I'm going to show you, I think I'll show you the styles first and what happens and stuff and how you do it. And then we'll talk about, I'll do it on some papers for you. Okay, I'm going to do this first. Let me grab my whole, I've got a whole ton of it, guys. So much. It's crazy. All right. So, get these out. I'm just going to pull them out. All right. Okay, so this is all my testing. Okay. I want to show you this one because this one isn't varnished. And you can varnish it too, which changes the outcome too. Okay, and when I varnish mine, I either use the Liquitex matte varnish or the Liquitex satin varnish. Kind of depends on the look you're going for. Either one works fine. Okay, so let's talk about what I found with PVA glue first. Okay. PVA glue, this one particularly, this is my PVA glue. I use it in my bookbinding stuff. It's by Lanico. It's a flexible glue, okay? It's archival and all that. And it looks just like normal white glue and it acts just like normal white glue, but it's a flexible glue. Okay, I'm just going to put these over here off to the side. All right, so when I did it on PVA glue, this is the look that I end up with. It's very sticky with mine. It's very thin and it's super, super, super sticky. Like if it touches itself, it will stick to itself. So I did not particularly care for this, but then I was like, this works really well as a faux leather. So there are times where I might want this. But, like I said, it's so sticky that if it touches, like if I touch it here, see, it's just going to stick to itself, and then you may or may not be able to get it back apart because it's that sticky. Okay. Now, if I left it like this, I could still use it to do some things with. I could do this. This is a journal cover. And it was done with one of these. And I just took some card stock, this is some sort of, it's a thick scrapbook paper. And I just covered it with this, okay? And you can see the finish that you get. It's very nice. It glues on there nice. And then I can varnish this to make it a little less sticky once it's done. So that's something that you can still use this for. So I wouldn't completely say that the more flexible glue that you might get this reaction out of is a disaster, because it's not really. I also got this reaction when I used the Mod Podge fabric. It was much stickier. Let me see if I can find my little sheet. It's in here somewhere. Let's see. There's so many, guys. Mod Podge. Matte medium, Mod Podge. Is this one? I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. So this was the Mod Podge fabric, and it's very much the same way. It's still, see, and it tears really easy, guys. It's very sticky, and it sticks on itself, and it's just very fragile. Okay, so that's the reaction you're going to get with these two glues specifically. Not necessarily ideal for what most people want to do this for. So, that said, once you're at this stage, if you want to go ahead and use it, you can. Say you've got a glue and you didn't expect it to do that, but it did. You can fix it with some varnish. I'm just trying to find the one where I varnished it. Y'all saw my pile. It's crazy. It's organized, but still crazy. It's organized chaos. All right, I think it's this one. Let me see. Okay, here we go. So, this very sticky kind of mess. This very sticky kind of mess will turn into, I'm going to varnish this soon so I don't mess it up, will turn into this if you varnish it. Okay? It doesn't, you know, grow sewing or anything like that. It doesn't quite turn into that. But this one I varnished with, I think it was satin. I think I used the satin varnish on this one. And then it turns more like, it's softer, it's more pliable, it's stronger. It's not sticky anymore. It isn't sticky. It won't stick to itself or your pages in your book or anything like that. So now it's usable. Now I've got, you know, that mess that turned out, and I've got something that's usable. High humidity, if you don't varnish it, Dawn, it's gonna possibly get sticky because the glue can react. It's a water glue and water will reactivate it. But if you varnish it, that's not the case, because now you've varnished it, you've given it a layer of protection. This is going to be very tolerant to humidity or even getting water on it. For instance, because this has already been varnished, I can spray it with water. Okay, do you see what happens? Do you see the beads? See? It'll just bead up. Okay, it doesn't absorb the water anymore, so it's not going to be affected the way it would have. Okay, you can, it has a very high water resistance at that point. You can't soak it in water. If I soak it in water overnight, you know, sorry, it's gonna probably start falling apart. But it does have a high resistance to water at that point. Okay, so that's what you get with the varnishing, the PVA glue, or the Mod Podge fabric. Okay, both which I would consider to be very flexible glues. Okay, let's move on. This was another piece of this that I sewed around the edge, and I put a little stamp on it. Okay, and we'll talk more about that later too. So let me set those aside. We're going to move on to our next glue, which is matte medium. Okay, Liquitex matte medium, which is a collage medium. I use this many times when I do collages or multimedia type stuff. So let's grab a matte medium, move all my stuff out of the way, find the matte medium pile. There's one. Elmers, matte medium, not varnished, and matte medium. And I believe, I am pretty sure this was matte medium too. I didn't write it down, so I don't know for sure. All right, so this is matte medium, not varnished. Do I have any varnished? Yeah, this is varnished. Okay, so these are all matte medium, not varnished. This one I'm going to do a sun catcher with, probably Sunday. Hopefully I'll get to it. I'm going to do a lantern and I'm going to do a sun catcher on Sunday for my live. I just got to figure out if I can get to both. I'm definitely doing the lantern, but the sun catcher will be second thought. Okay, so here's what you got. So the matte medium, not varnished, is soft. It's pliable. It's actually kind of similar to the PVA once you varnish it. It's almost got that kind of a feel, but it's a little more papery, if I could explain that. It's just more papery. The feel, I don't know if you can hear it. It's more papery. Okay. It doesn't seem, I've had these all stuck together. They don't seem to be sticking too bad to each other. This is more of a, what I would consider to be more of a traditional rice paper look. It'll be shiny on the side where it's down. And we'll talk about what you can put this on when you're making it in a minute. And it will be not shiny on the top. All of them will be shinier on the surface that is glued down. Okay. You can stencil on it. That's just some acrylic paint and a stencil. And you see you get different reactions depending on how crinkly you make it. And you can do it on regular, one layer of normal tissue. This is like a napkin. And this is just a really big one. Now, for some reason, this one turned out crinklier. I don't know why. I really have no clue why this particular one turned out crinklier. But it did. It's still matte medium, still the same one. So I don't know if my mixture was slightly different or something, but I could not get it to do that again. Just didn't. All right, so that's what it looks like with the matte medium, which still, I like it. It's nice. It's a little more pliable. So if you're going around corners, it doesn't break as easily. The more crispy it is, the more likely your edges will break. So it's a little more pliable, so it's nice. And matte medium is made to be painted on, so it will probably take paint or inks better than any of the other methods, just by nature. But you can still paint and stuff on the others too. Okay, don't think that you can't. And this is what it looks like if you do some cheesecloth. Okay, this is cheesecloth. You can see the back's very shiny and solid. Okay, and then you've got that closed up material here. And it's strong. You can fold it, you can sew it, you can do all kinds of cool, interesting things with this stuff. So that's that, not varnished. Now, if you varnish it, really the only difference that I noticed from varnishing it is simply that it became waterproof. I really didn't notice much difference in the texture. It's still very papery. It might be slightly thicker feeling. This one feels a little thicker for sure. This one doesn't so much. So it's probably going to depend. You can sew it after it's been varnished or before, either one. It takes sewing very well. And then you can use it in whatever your project is. Okay, so that's the matte medium. Now these are a variety of coffee stain and ink. Don't ask me which one's which because I honestly don't know. I had it written down on them at one point and then I promptly lost it. So I don't know. All right, what's our next glue? Let's see. Regular Mod Podge. Okay, let's do that one. Let me find my Mod Podge example. Mod Podge, there it is. All right, Mod Podge, not varnished. All right, Kiba, just a second. It's kind of similar to the matte medium. It's got that softer feel. This one it's a little thicker. The matte medium is a little thinner. Most of the time, I wish I had like, you could feel through the camera, but I know you can't. So to try to show you, I'm just going to kind of show you so this one, do you see how flexible that is? This is the matte medium, so it's a lot thinner. And this is the Mod Podge. So you see it's not quite as flexible. It's a little thicker. So it's different than this. I also think that this gives it a little more opaque look than the Mod Podge. The Mod Podge seems to be clearer for some reason. Okay, both of these have some sort of a dye in them, whether it's coffee or whatever. You see how clear that is compared to, the matte medium next to it. It's definitely clearer, I think. Okay, that's the main difference I noticed with this. So this will work. I'm not crazy about the texture of this, though. It's a little too stiff for me. So, that wouldn't be my favorite. It's definitely more of a leathery feel to me than a papery feel. So that was what I found with that. And then we have just your basic inexpensive glue all. Okay, just Elmer's glue all. I think this bottle was like $3 or something. Not super expensive. All right, Kiba, I'll let you out. Sorry, my kitty wants out. Hold on. Shut my door because my child is gaming and we do not want to hear the obscenities that she might be screaming. To put it frankly. All right, let's see. So, Elmer's Glue All. We have lots in that one because I did like that one. Like I said, I think it's my favorite. So let's talk about that. What do we got here? We'll just go over a few of them. All right, this is different this is different surfaces. So this test is on different surfaces. So we're going to move those aside. This is varnished, not varnished. Oh, that's matte medium. What are you doing in there? Get back over there. This is not varnished. This one I haven't peeled yet, so I want to show you peeling. And we're going to use this for our test. Maybe that one. And this is another surface one. There's one more surface one. Where is it hiding? There it is. Okay. All right. Any questions yet, guys? Hopefully everybody is following along and I'm not confusing you too much. I know it's a lot. There's a lot to cover. All right. So, Elmer's Glue All. So these I did with some string and some little bits of coffee. They're very nice and crunchy. They give you that nice crunchy sound, which sometimes people like and are looking for. This one's just the same. It's just got, it doesn't have the string, but it does have a little bit of coffee. And it tends to be fairly translucent depending on how much color you put into it. And I'm trying to find my sample pieces. Oh, there they are. Okay, so you can put color or not color. If you don't want to put color, you can do it clear, just with your water. And you'll get this type of a look. This is just this is tissue paper. This is a tissue paper I probably got from Dollar Tree. This is also tissue paper. Okay. I'll peel that off in a second because I want to talk about surfaces and peeling. I'll do that after I do the lesson. But also the Elmer's Glue All. And all of these are Elmer's Glue All. And you can see some of the things you can do. You can sew on it. That's just a stitch down. This could be used in journaling. If you're doing junk journaling or stuff. All these little things can be fun embellishments for your journals. Things like that. You can make little pockets. Nice little crunchy pocket. You can glue them onto a page. Make a little page like that. You know, it's fun to put things behind it. Let me see. I don't have any pictures, but here, I'll just grab one of my paintings. You can put things behind it in your journal and then you can see through and see what's there. and it just gives it that little more of a vintage effect. Okay, so that's fun. And I'm going to be making a lantern out of this with the string and stuff on it. And then one that's a little bit plainer, we're going to do some stenciling on it for this one. But lots of things you could do. You can make sun catchers, you can make lanterns, you can use it in your journaling, make pockets, little corner tucks, all kinds of fun things, guys. So this is just a regular napkin with the Elmers glue all. I believe this was the walnut stain. I tried to write them down. Some of these are, this is the coffee tea bits is what I'm talking about. That's not what I actually dyed it with. I may have dyed it with the coffee, or I may have dyed it with the vintage photo. I'm not 100% sure. But you can see all the fun things that you can do. Okay? Are you guys talking? Because I can't tell. Let me see. I'm just going to refresh the chat real quick. See if anybody said anything. All right, it doesn't look like it. All right. So, all kinds of fun things. I had a lot of fun trying sewing and stuff on it. And just use a, you know, you might have to play around with your tension, just like when you're sewing papers and stuff. Just play around with your tension and kind of see what it does. I didn't really have too many issues with it. As long as I didn't go too fast, it didn't seem to rip or anything. So I had pretty good results sewing it. Okay, so that is that. And let's talk about making it. All right, so we've covered all of these. If you varnish it, it does go back to the kind of more of a thicker leathery feel. So you lose that, when you varnish the Elmer's glue all, you lose the crunch. Okay? It becomes waterproof. This is definitely not waterproof, guys. If it gets wet, it's going to reactivate. Now, as long as you don't touch it, it'll dry back out and probably be fine. If you touch it, it could possibly tear or fall apart. So you kind of have to decide where you're going to be using it, and do you need the protection. If you need the protection, then, you know, put some varnish on it. But it will change the feel of it. Okay, so you can tell it's much more pliable. Okay, very, very pliable, very strong. Whereas this is very crinkly and, you know, more crunchy and stuff. When you bend it, you know, it breaks more. Okay, you get the little breaks. Okay, now let's show you how to make it. Because we talked about all the ins and outs of it. Let's make some. It's very easy to make. And you can do it with just stuff you probably already have, honestly. Okay. So, I use cereal bags. Now, these are just bags that your cereal is in, and they're just repurposed. Now, cereal bag's going to have two sides. One side is shiny. The other side is not so shiny. Okay, you want to use the side that's not so shiny. The reason is, and I'm going to show you, is that the shiny side will bead. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the shiny side, and we'll put this on the not shiny side. Okay, here's some I already have mixed up. So let's mix them up so that you guys know how to mix it. Where are my little cups at? Are they in there? Yeah, that's where they are. All right, we're going to mix them up. So basically you want glue and enough water or coffee or tea to make it very runny. That's really all there is to it. Some people say 1 part, 2/3, 1 part water to 2 parts glue, like something like that. That's what some people say. I don't measure it, guys. I just don't. Sorry. So I can't tell you exact. I just go by look and feel, and really I've not really noticed much of a difference. So I throw a little bit of glue in there. Okay? So a little bit of glue. And then if you're going to add coffee or tea, it already has a liquid in it, so you won't need to add as much water. So if I'm going to do this with coffee, I don't need to add water. If I'm going to do this with a spray stain, then I will need to add a little more water, because even though the spray stain is liquid, it's not near as liquid as coffee. Okay, save time. We're just going to put a little bit of this in here. It's not going to be super dark because this is a very weak bit of coffee that was left, but just about that much. So that is like maybe 1 part water to about 2 or 3 parts glue. And you're just going to stir it up. Okay, just mix it until it's all mixed together, and it will be runny. Okay, you see? Can you see? I don't know how much you can see on camera because it's runny. It should run off of there like that. It shouldn't be like water runny, but somewhere in between. Like a very, very thin pancake batter. That's the only way I know to describe it. This will be a very light mixture because that coffee is not strong, like I said. Depending on how strong your coffee is or whatever that you're using, will be darker. If you want it darker, add more color. Like I said, this is the vintage photo in it, so it's much, much darker, and that was like maybe 2 sprays of the vintage photo. Okay. The difference in using your paper on the shiny side, the not shiny side. Okay. Here's the difference. When you have your napkin or whatever you're putting down, let's talk brushes too. I like to use a flat, these are the white Taklon bristles. That tends to be my favorite, but you can also use just your normal golden Taklon as long as it's a flat. The reason for it being a flat is obviously you can cover better and you can do your edges because there's a technique where we push up our edges. Okay. So I'm going to start off with, I'm going to just use this one just for this. All right. So if I brush this on here, do you see how it's solid? Okay. Now if I brush it on the shiny side, there's glue on. I haven't cleaned this page off yet, but it's going to break up. Let's see if it'll do it. I got a lot of glue on this one. I don't know if it'll break up, but you can kind of see how the edges are breaking. It sometimes is even more than that. Sometimes you can't even get it to coat. It just keeps breaking so much. And it won't. What happens is when you're using the shiny side, because it's breaking up, you can't get good coverage on the back side of your napkin or whatever you're doing it on. So that's why it works best to use the non-shiny side. Okay. Now, I've tried different surfaces for this. Let me just clean this off. You can see how it's breaking even more. And I have found, honestly, the cereal bags are the best. This is what Natasa with Treasure Books uses, is the cereal bag. So she's the one that turned me on to that. So definitely give her credit for that. Y'all check out her YouTube. It's a great YouTube. She does so much junk journaling. You guys, you'll love it. But she turned me on to repurposing this. I used to just use just plastic bags around the house, like the ones that you buy stuff in. Trying to make a mess with that glue. All right, so that's the right side. Okay, so here's what happens on different surfaces, because there's so much you need to know, guys. I know I'm covering a lot, because people will ask me, well, can I do it on this? Can I do it on that? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, this is one of the page, what do you call these? Page protector? Page protectors. Okay, it beads on this a lot. Okay, you see how it separates? So it's very difficult to get a good coat on the bottom on this. Will it work? Sure, it'll work. You just won't have as much of a solid coat. Got coffee or something on there. It's probably because I had some on here and it picked it up. There's like little bits of glue on there still. But it does bead a lot. So that was what I found with using this type of a surface. And it does peel off fine. It literally like falls off. It's very shiny on the back, like more so than any other surface I used. And then your top looks the normal. Now this is Elmer's Glue All, but you can see it's crinkly, but honestly it has a thinner feel to it on this particular surface. So your surfaces do change things. Keep that in mind. Okay, so if you're getting a result, are you just jumping in, Edna? She must be just jumping in. We are making faux rice paper. There's a lot to it. You'll have to go back and check the replay. Okay, I'm just showing different surfaces you can make it on and the reaction that you get when you do. Okay, in a nutshell. All right, so here's what happens if you use one of these little, these are just the little packages I got my stamps in. They're just your typical little packaging. The glue didn't bead on this, surprisingly. It stayed. Let me get that piece off of there. Get off of there. Okay, big old chunk of glue on my, let me just wash it out. Big old chunk of glue on there. All right, let's try this again. Where's my stuff? Okay, so this one, it doesn't bead. I was surprised. I really thought this one would bead. It did not. It actually worked just fine. So I didn't get the beading on this particular material. So if you have these seem to work. Do they peel? They peel nice. You do get a much shinier back on it than you do with the cereal box paper. You see how shiny that? Let me show you the other one so you can compare. Elmer's Glue All versus, where's it at? I have a pile here somewhere. Oh, there it is. All right. I want you to see the difference in the shininess. Okay. So this was done. This is the back of a cereal box. Do you see it's kind of shiny, but not nearly as shiny as that. And this is actually more sticky too. Okay, so there is that difference, but the front's pretty much the same. The front looks the same as the other surface. Okay, so that's the difference there on this surface. Okay, all right. Figured one of you would ask me, well, what happens on wax paper? Oh, this is what happens on wax paper. The glue beads like crazy. It's wax paper. It beads like crazy. So it makes it very difficult to get that back coat done on it. It also warps. The paper shrinks up because the water still gets into it. So it did warp. I have a feeling, I haven't peeled this yet, I have a feeling it's probably going to tear the wax paper up. So let's see what happens. Yeah. You see what we're getting there? It's trying to peel that layer of wax paper off too. So it does not peel well. Could you do it in a pinch? I mean, I guess. But it might rip easy or tear. But this is what happens on wax paper, so that would not be my first choice for doing this on. It does give you a non-shiny back because it's all on there. So both sides are almost identical. Okay, so wax paper. And then we've got parchment paper. Okay, the glue also beads on the parchment paper. It also warps much like the wax paper. Okay, it peels easier than the wax paper. So, aside from the warping and the beading, the result's not horrible. So in a pinch, you could use parchment paper. My parchment paper happens to be the natural parchment paper. I don't know if there's any difference, but it's not terrible. It actually works fairly well. So there's that. So that's the different surfaces. Okay, guys, so let's make one. I told you this was going to be a full lesson. I have tried to cover everything that I can think to cover. But, this is free. Cereal bags, if you eat cereal, oh, that's a wax paper. If you eat cereal, you can get a free surface for this. And honestly, I think it's the best. So, I always make sure I'm on the right side because I like this side. And I clean these and reuse them. I'll show you a little bit about that. But anyway, let's see. So this is our coffee one. We'll just use this for now. So, step 1, make your glue. Find your surface. Okay, we're going to just use this is a layer of a tissue. Y'all, most of you probably know, but here, let me talk about tissues just in case somebody's watching that doesn't know. Let me move this because I'll get it all over my napkin. All right, tissue, napkins, I keep on tissue. Napkins have 2 layers, okay? Sometimes 3. I would not suggest pulling off that 3rd layer. I did it on one of mine, and it was so thin, it just started falling apart. Okay, I think if it had the 3, I'd probably just leave the last 2. But take off your first layer. You can use it on this, or you can use it on the white. Both of these work fine. Okay, you get different results, but obviously they both work fine. So that's what you want. You can use that. You can use tissue paper. Okay, I like the tissue paper that's not shiny a little bit better, but both will work. Okay, I don't really know what the difference is. Sometimes it's shiny and sometimes it's not. I don't know. Both will work. Tissue paper works well. I do tend to like to crinkle my tissue paper before I use it. So before I do it on tissue paper, I like to crinkle it. It just gives a little more of that crinkly look and not so flat. Now, if you want a really flat piece and you don't want it to have any texture, don't crinkle it. Leave it like that and you won't have a lot of texture. We're just going to do a little sample on this. So I'm going to show you with the napkin and with tissue. Okay, so we've got our cereal box paper. We've got our glue that's been mixed with water, about 1 part glue to 2 parts, or 1 part water to 2 parts glue. So more glue than water. Okay, make sure you get the square as big as the item that you're putting on it. Sometimes I trace it if I think it's going to be difficult to tell, but usually I can just eye it. Okay, put your layer of glue on there. Okay, take your napkin, lay it on there, and just tap it. You just want to kind of tap it, get it started to stick. You can scrunch it a little bit. Don't play with it too much because it's a napkin, guys. It's going to fall apart if you play with it too much. Now, if you do tear it, don't cry. It's okay. If you tear it, you can patch it together with another piece of napkin. You might see it when it's done. You might not. Sometimes it doesn't show at all, but you can patch it. Okay, so don't freak out if you happen to tear it. All right, so you're going to want to do this. We're going to do it on both of these at the same time. So tissue paper and napkin. A little bit taller, I think. And I just get a decent coat. Not so much that it's runny, just a nice flat coat. Okay, and we'll put our little tissue paper down. And same thing, just tap it. Okay. Now, you want to take and start brushing from the inside out. Okay, don't start on your edge or you're going to pull it in. So it's from the inside and just a normal coat like you would decoupage, just a normal coat of glue. Don't overwork it, especially this. This one you can overwork a little more. The napkins you can't. It's just like decoupage, guys. You can't overwork it. It's going to start ripping on you. Okay, but I go from the inside out until you've completely coated it. All right, same thing on this one, inside out. You can see the texture is just slightly different on this one. I'm just going to jump up and check my camera for a second as soon as I coat this. You want to try to get all the air bubbles out if you can. Sometimes it can be tricky to get air bubbles out with the tissue because it doesn't go through as easily. But once you get that, let me check my camera. It looks okay. All right. Now you're going to want to scrunch, okay? The reason for scrunching, and all I mean is push, okay? You're just pushing the edge in, and it's going to roll it a bit. You have to do it when it's wet. Don't let it dry or you won't be able to do it. So if you're measuring something and you're making something an exact size, you need to leave room for the scrunching, okay? That's why your flat brush comes in handy. Remember I said I like the flat one? Because when you scrunch it, this is so much easier with a flat brush, okay? You can turn it or whatever. We're just going to try to do it from this side. The reason you're scrunching it is only, well, there's two reasons. One, aesthetically, it looks really cool. Two, it makes peeling it off of this paper, this plastic, much easier. Okay, if you don't scrunch in your edges, when you go to peel this, sometimes it can be tricky to find that edge. Okay, so by scrunching it, you now made it much easier to find that edge. And it holds down better, it doesn't tear so much, because sometimes it can tear if you don't have this done. Okay, but we're going to talk about this in another step in just a second, because you're going to forget to scrunch. I do it all the time still. I don't know why. My brain freezes and I forget to scrunch. All right, so let me put this, I'm just going to wash this because I can't set it anywhere. And we're just dealing with water-based glues, guys, so they wash out of your brushes easy. Use soap and water. Set this aside, let it dry. I do like overnight. It will dry in about 4, 5, 6 hours, depending on how hot your house is, okay? So we're going to set this aside. I got to jump over to my other table, so excuse me 1 second. I can do it without tripping on stuff. Okay. So here is one that I did. Now, I like to label mine, especially when I'm testing stuff. So if you're ever testing, you can label this with a Sharpie and then wipe it off, okay? So these are all little tests I've done. This one has the Elmers glue all, and I believe it was Distress ink, and it's on tissue paper. This is a Dollar Tree tissue paper, okay? Now, see how these edges are rolled, and you see this is peeling it. Peels off very, very easily. Okay? So, that's our result. You can make a pocket out of that. If you're doing some journaling, make yourself a cute little pocket. You could sew the edges, or you can glue it. Glue works very well. You can make a little pocket. All kinds of fun things, guys. So there's that. So this one, I forgot to roll the edges. Oh no, what am I going to do? You'll get glue everywhere, guys, because it peels off the plastic. Here's the deal. You can just go in and usually just bend down the plastic and you'll be okay. And you can just get it off. But what if, say, I really wanted those rolled edges? I wanted that look, and now I've forgotten. I've messed it up, and I don't want to have to do the whole thing over again. All right, you can reactivate it, okay? So all you have to do is just take a wet paintbrush, just get some water on your paintbrush, reactivate your edge, okay? And you just go around, reactivate your edge. And give it like a second or so to soak in, because it's water-based glue, guys. It's going to get wet again. Now, once it reactivates and it starts moving for me, like I said, just give it a minute. Then you can go in and you can scrunch your edges. Okay. Now I've reactivated it. I can come in, I can scrunch my edges. and just wait for it to dry again. Sometimes it takes just a minute. This is just really resisting right there. All right, there it goes. But once you get it to reactivate, you can scrunch it up and play with it and fix it, okay? And just go around the whole thing and let it dry, okay? So if you forget, which you will, don't freak out. You can totally reactivate your edges and get this cool look with the edges rolled, okay? Or you can leave it like it is and just leave it flat. Either is fine. It just depends on what you're doing with it, okay? So, and then I just let that dry. It usually takes like an hour or so. This one I did with some gold paint. So this one is, now sometimes when you peel these off, you'll have little bits of glue. Not much on this one, but sometimes there'll be a lot. You just pull them off, okay? If there's glue on your edges, just pull it off. It'll pull right off. Okay, this is with some of the, that Deco Art glue, or gold glitter paint. Let me see if I can reach it. Hold on. I put this glue in there, just a little bit. Super shiny. Now, I mean a little bit. Like, I literally, like, touched my, my paint spatula, whatever it's called, and palette knife. Gosh. And I just touched it and mixed it in, okay? But look how glittery. You could add glitter. Look how pretty. Isn't that pretty? That's the back. But you can get good, cool effects depending on what you add to it. So that's with that. Let me just put this in my other pile over here. Move this aside so it can dry again. All right, where's my other one that I have ready to peel off? Oh, there it is. All right. Oh my gosh, I have papers everywhere, guys. All right, here is a little rooster I did, and this is almost glue all. I don't think there's any. Oh, I did some coffee bits in this. That's what it is. It's like, what is different about that? Okay, see how I got all that glue on this one? So you just peel it off. Just pull it. It'll come right off. So sometimes you have to clean up your edges. Sometimes you don't. All right. But this is what it looks like if you add some little texture with some coffee. Isn't that cool? Little bits of coffee in there. This one is just a regular napkin. Now, this one tore in a couple of places and I had to repair it because this is the one that had 3 layers and I had peeled off that 3rd layer and it was so thin. Just so thin once you peeled off 2 layers. So it kept tearing on me as I was doing it and I had to repaired his eye and I had to repair down here. But it's not super noticeable if you have to repair it, and I was just using bits of paper from other parts of the napkin to repair it while it was still wet. Okay, but it's cool. Cool little one. Don't know what I did different with that. I have all these I was going to show, but who knows what I was thinking. I really don't know. But another Elmer's Glue All one. I think this was coffee. So the one we just did will turn out much like this with the coffee. It's very light. It's not super dark. Whereas the vintage photo and the walnut will turn out much darker. So the color you get is just, it depends on what you do. Now here's some other surfaces. I want to talk about this. This was Distress Stain Walnut. Right now we're just covering. Oh, I wanted to talk about cleaning this and reusing it. So you can totally just, honestly, if you just roll this up and crinkle it, all these little bits of glue are going to start falling off, and then you can just pull them off and throw them in the trash. Or you can put it in like a container of water and just scrub it down with like a little brush and let it kind of dissolve off. I wouldn't suggest letting too much glue get into your sink or your tub or whatever you're doing it in. Try to do it in a container or something. Maybe pour it in the yard. But I usually just go through and kind of just like get it started and then just kind of peel off the big chunks of it. And then I just reuse it. Okay, if you've written on it, just use some alcohol. Let me find one. There's one. That's my wax paper test. If you wrote on it and you want to erase it, just take your alcohol pad and you can clean it right off. Okay, and then you can write on it again. All right, so that's all you do. If you find that it's getting crinkly, hot water will pretty much flatten these back out again. I just run hot water over it and let it dry both sides. Okay, but you can reuse them over and over. So, if you don't happen to have a bunch of cereal boxes, guys, what time is it? Let's see. Am I running over? Ooh, it's almost an hour. All right, let me think what I haven't covered now. All right. Dropped all my stuff on the floor. All right, so that's what it looks like with white. So definitely big difference. And here we go. Different items. Okay, so we've seen paper and napkins. It's yeah, very informative for you. All right, so here's the things I did. All right, so this is just a doily. I'm just going to show you so you know what I used. Okay, so doily. Started out like that. And then you have that. Okay, it's very crinkly. Could be used for a corner tuck or something, I would think, in a journal. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, honestly. You can fold it, you can sew it, you can do lots of fun things. Okay, doily. This is a paper towel. So this is Bounty. The inside layer of a paper towel. So this is when you pull the two layers apart, like on the napkin. One side has these triangles on the Bounty specifically, and the other side had just these little dots. You see that texture? Isn't that interesting? So that's what you get. It's shiny on the other side. This is the side that was down on the surface, and then this is the other side. It's a very interesting texture. It's very thick. It's much thicker than napkins, but would make a great pocket or something. A little envelope. Okay, so cool stuff. It priced so very well. So there's that. And then a paper filter. Turns out like this. Now I didn't do much scrunching on this. I just kind of left it flat. You can see what you get with a paper coffee filter. Okay. And this is fabric. This is an old sheet. I don't have the old sheet next to me, so I can't show you it, but you know, it's an old sheet, guys. It's an old cotton sheet. Okay. Very thick. Once that's done, very like thick. Okay, but that's the end result. It's kind of cool. I don't know what I'll do with it. I'll do something with it. Like I said, you can fold it, make pockets. You could sew it, just use it on a page or whatever. Okay, very cool. Now let's talk about how these look with light, because we're going to on Sunday we're going to make a lantern, guys. So come back and join me on Sunday. I know most of you will. Let me find my paper. All right, this is the one we're going to use mostly. I'll probably use. I'm going to stencil on it too, because I got to make it for my stencil Sunday. So, oh, and I stamped and stuff. I wanted to talk about stamping and painting, although I could save it for Sunday. Let me just grab a piece that I can do it on. What is this? Let me find some of my matte medium ones. This one's varnished, but that's all right. I could do something on that one, so I can show you. I think it'll still stick to the varnish, but the matte mediums, like I said, tend to work a little bit better for taking paint. Let me find my pile. Where's my pile of matte mediums? That one's for my sun catcher, so I can't do that one. Here, we'll do this one because this one's cool. Actually, it's varnished. I don't want one that's varnished. I want to show you the difference. Do I have a not varnished one? I know I do. Oh, there it is. It's like I have so many not varnished. All right, here we go. Not varnished, and we'll just do that one. I'm going to lose all these, and I won't know what's what, but that's okay. Honestly, I've kind of gotten to where I can usually tell, but sometimes you can't tell. Okay, so how does this look when light goes through it? So hopefully this won't blind y'all. I'm going to try to show you with, where's the button? Oh, there it is. All right. Hopefully it's not super bright, but I wanted to show you. Look how cool that is. Isn't that cool? This is the one with some little bits of coffee and some strings and the Elmers glue all, and then just a regular napkin. This is tissue paper. Isn't that cool? So you can see how making a lantern for this is going to be awesome, or a sun catcher. Things where light comes through can be super, super cool. All right, so there's that. And then applying paint is easy. This is a varnished one, but that's okay. Or ink. We'll just do ink. I'm not going to do paint because I'm going to paint on Sunday so y'all can see me paint. We'll just do ink today. Where's my ink? So you can use your archival inks. Do not use your regular inks. Make sure you use one that is waterproof. Okay, it just will give you the best results, guys. Let me find my stamp book. Oh, there it is. What do you want to do? Let me see if I have a good stamp in here. Let me move that out of the way. I have so many open glues, I don't want to spill them. Stuck my finger in that one. All right. Let's see. What do we want to put on here? Llamas. These birds are really cool. Oh, I think I'll do the butterflies. These are just some Dollar Tree stamps. That's where most of these are from. Most of them. Some of them aren't. I don't know about that one. It's missing a label. So it might be Dollar Tree. It might be something I got from stampbook.com. I don't seem to see the label. All right. I usually try to put the labels in there so I can remember where I got them from. All right, but that's what this is. This is this little dragonfly. Isn't that cool? Let's do this butterfly. I would have to varnish everything with your humidity. Maybe. I will find out. I'm in Georgia. I mean, our humidity is insane. So I'll see what happens come summer. All right, let's put this little stamp on here so we can see what it looks like. So we're just going to do black. I have no idea if I seasoned these stamps or not. Probably not. Alright. So I like to do it on the correct side. This is the side that was down on the plastic. This is the side that's more matte. Okay. So stamp it on there. There we go. Perfect little stamped image. So you can decorate it with your stamps. So this is not varnished. This is varnished. We're just going to see if it works just as well. My guess is it's fine. I've painted over my varnish before, so I assume it will be fine. It might take a minute longer to dry. Where do I want to put this one? We'll put this one in the middle. Let's see. Look at it from an angle. See, it's more shiny. So that means it's not dry, whereas this one dried almost instantly. So it's totally dry. This one's a little wetter, so my guess is it's going to take just a minute to dry. Let me hit it with the blow dryer to see what happens. Oh, I forgot to get my sponge. Oh, that's okay. I have a whole bunch of them. Oh, do I have an open one? There's one. Oh, don't touch it. Let's clean that stamp off. Try and soften my chamois up. I don't have a lot of water right now, so just going to clean this off. There we go. All clean. Okay. So, yeah, still shiny. We're going to hit it with the blow dryer. Now, when you use a blow dryer on this, I have noticed it does sometimes soften a little bit. So, just be gentle. I think it's just the heat. You could use it on cool. We're good. So yeah, it's going to take a minute more to dry. It's still slightly wet, but I think once it dries on the varnish, you'd still be fine with the archival ink. And you could definitely paint. I have painted on my varnish stuff, so that should be fine, even on your varnished stuff. So that is that. All right, guys. So we are going to. Do you guys have any questions first? Let me know. Is the Dollar Tree one? Thank you. I'll have to write that down so I remember. They have some cute stamps. So that is our lesson on that. And like I said, you can use it for so many things. Like I did this cool little journal color. I love this texture, guys. I'll probably do a craft with this. I'll make a journal doing one with that. We're going to make a lantern tomorrow, so let me give you a little sneak peek for all of you who are watching me. So I took the time to design a lantern. So this is my lantern design. Okay. It's just a little normal block like we paint on all the time. It's one of these little wood blocks. One of these. Okay. And then it's some other pieces of wood, the thin balsa type wood, and some bamboo skewers. And we're going to turn that into a lantern. It only goes on here one way because I didn't get my holes even, which I fixed that. So there's that, and then we're going to be putting the rice paper around it like this, and we will be making the lantern. Okay, so there's our sneak peek on what we will be doing on Sunday, and I will probably be stenciling on it. Maybe not this one, but on one of them. Okay? I'm going to make a brown one and a black one. All right, guys. So y'all come join me on Sunday at 4 o'clock for our Stencil Sunday, and we will do that. What is the name of who you found? Do you mean Treasure Books with Natasa? That I saw this on a couple of years ago? If that's what you mean, Sandy, it was her. Like I said, I've watched, I know, gosh, there's so many out there, guys. There's probably 20 or 30 videos with people doing this rice paper. It's not anything new, really. It's been around for a while. But she's by far my favorite. Just look up Treasure Books. You'll find her. She's from Austria, so, and she's very sweet. Very, very sweet lady. Okay, guys. That's it for today, and I will see you on Sunday. Hope you all enjoyed, and you guys go make some papers. Look at all these papers. There's so many. Go make some papers. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.